What's up YouTube, Derek of Wargames, bringing you an Invoked Draco deck profile. Now this went first place at our locals this weekend, joint with Spirals and Six Samurai True Kings. So it was a very open kind of game this weekend, which is very nice to kind of see. Its one loss came against Pendulum Magicians. Other than that, let's crack on with the deck profile and we'll show you how these engines kind of operate and how they kind of work together. I've also got the side deck as well, so we'll go through that on top. Let's get started with the monsters. So we play triple Alistair the Invoker. Now obviously this is the Invoked engine, that's pretty much as standard as it gets. Definitely play 3 of this guy, purely because there are like the OTK kind of plays with Purgatrio, plus the kind of the hand trap ability of dumping him from hand. Yes, you don't want to be using it unless you feel you can go for game or you have the ability to recycle Alistair, but it's still incredibly powerful to kind of put down on your monster and push in for game. Next up, for the Draco engine, we play the 1 Masterpiece. You can easily play 2 if you want. We don't really need it for the light attributes, and the continuous spells aren't at maximum, so he's really there just to be like, I've made him immune by spells and traps, or monsters and traps, or however kind of combination, and then you mix him with Mechbar. Mechbar can kind of then protect him from whatever else gets activated to deal with him. And then Masterpiece can deal with any other threats that kind of come Mechbar's way or his way. At 1 is more than enough because you can just search it when you need to, and then make him bring him out on board. Double Majesty Maiden, you can play this at 3 if you wish. We only play this at 2 purely because again, it's all searchable, so there's no real issue of trying to find it. And Raijin isn't as important as he once was, in the sense that, you know, before Links, when you could make a board of Raijin, Mechbar, Crystal Beer, like Crystal Wing, stuff like that, Raijin was quite prominent, but right now he's not as important. And obviously Majesty Maiden just helps you search out your Masterpiece, and obviously, of course, your others, such as your 1 Ignis Heat, because he is at 1. Now, obviously, as you can see with the Draco engine, it is kind of small for the monsters, but it's where it comes back with the spells and traps, because that's where it gets really important, is the spells and traps are there to aid you by giving you the additional normal summon. You very rarely use, like, you don't as consistently use the traps during your opponent's turn, but that can still be an issue for your opponent to kind of deal with. And obviously the whole idea of having a Mechbar on board and then one of these beasts on board as well kind of deals with your opponent a bit of an issue. Obviously Ignis Heat adds spell to your hand, so if they don't deal with your Mechbar straight away and you get him on board, they can do anything, he'll search out a spell, and now they know that Mechbar can protect against spells and, of course, monsters if you've kept the Alistair back in hand from the spin back. And then the 1 Mariamne, the true Draco Slayer in Phoenix. Yeah, cool. Just for a double search. So it's a nice easy double search off a diagram, and of course if you want to, you can use her effect to bring her out. It's a nice little one that you can get her on board, dump in Majesty and dump Alistair the Invoker, and then if you've already got Invocation in hand, you get the most out of your Alistair from grave. So you special summoned her, let's say it's a little like a turn 2 or something, or you use her effect, you pitch that, you've got an Invocation in hand, you activate Invocation, spin Alistair, and banish this and maybe go into a Raijin, or if you've got anything else in grave, you know, you can kind of extend your play that way. You then get your Alistair back to hand, you can normal summon your Alistair, Alistair can then search that Invocation back out, and if you want to, you can go into like Elysium, or you can kind of just extend your plays that way, or use what you've got on board, so your Marain plus whatever else, go into a Link monster, and then you can use Alistair's effect, use Invocation that you've just searched off of the normal summon of Alistair, and extend plays that way. Triple Ash Blossom, because the fire attribute for Purgatrio can be massively helpful, plus obviously we want to disrupt our opponent as best we possibly can if we end up going second, which is the same reason we play triple Ghost Ogre as well. Again, incredibly powerful hand trap. Dumping this to grave is probably your best one as well, because it can get you into a Mechbar and kind of go from there. Then the rest of our monsters is 1 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy and the 1 Maxi. Now I'm not 100% set on the ratios that I've got in this deck for the Spellbook engine, purely because as he's probably needed, that's the issue, but you need your normal summon quite a lot. Like, you need your additional normal summon to work the Draco engine, and obviously you need your normal summon to work Alistair, so having to normal summon him doesn't help you out too much, because all it will end, the only thing it will end you on board with is one of these, and then maybe if you wanted to lose an Alistair from hand, you could go into the Quitius, or you kind of push forward for a different kind of Invoked Fusion. So I'm not 100% set on 1, but I can kind of see why he may be needed at 1, and then obviously, of course, Max C. So now onto the spells. We play triple Dragonic Diagram. You know, straightforward on that. You're popping your My Range, you're popping anything you really need to get you that extra search to move forward. Double Magical Meltdown. The reason we only play 2 on this is because it's only an activation once per turn, which is why we play more Dragonic Diagram than Meltdown. And obviously Meltdown is your technical normal summon, because you activate this, you search out your invoke Alistar, and you can kind of go through plays that way. Obviously when we get, or if we ever get announced for the Invoked Link monster, you could probably play less of this if you wanted to. But I personally think that ratio is more than enough. And then triple Terraforming, because if any of these ever actually become dead in your hand, you can pitch them with Mechba as well. And then we do also play Ancient Fairy Dragon in the extra deck as kind of like an alternative. You don't have to play it, but it's a nice little alternative that, let's say you haven't got, you've only got one of these on board, you can activate your diagram, use its effect, blow out your diagram, get your Magical Meltdown, activate your Magical Meltdown, get your Alistar, and you can kind of extend plays further that way. So it does give you quite a few options to extend. Double Invocation. 3, in my personal opinion, is too much, because you search it enough as it is. You don't really ever want to, you know, open it up with it in hand, because you search it enough and you recycle it. So unless your opponent like sides in stuff and just starts banishing your invocation, you know, it's not really the end of the world. For the Draco spells, we play triple Heritage. Obviously, the most important card is the draw card, plus it gives you that additional normal summon, which is what helps you extend your plays. And then double Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. Obviously, this can just start recycling back your spells, your traps, your monsters. Ideally, you want to be cycling back your True Draco's Return, True King's Return, because that's obviously at 1, and it's your most important one to bring back. Then the Spellbook Engine, we've got triple Spellbook of Secrets and double Spellbook of Knowledge. So, if I was going to take Blue Boy out, I'd put it in for a 3rd Spellbook of Knowledge, but then again, it could become too cloggy. You've really got to work on the ratios of the Spellbook, because yes, it is incredibly powerful. If you open up with this or this, and like Meltdown or whatever, you've got a way of getting rid of your Invoker, plussing 2 and moving forward. There's quite a lot of draw power in this deck. Especially with the Dracos, that you're kind of replacing the draw engine that they used to have with like Demise, Duality, stuff like that, into more consistent card draw power. You can easily put Pot of Desires in here, no arguments there, but because we do only play like the one, what it'll hit the most, obviously if you lose your invocations you're in big trouble, but obviously it'll hit your Maxi, hit your Spellbook, Magician. The hand traps aren't that much of an issue because you got them anyway. Your Mariamne, your Ignis Heat, maybe your Majesty, and then your Masterpiece. So it is quite a risky kind of play, but we do have enough freeze to kind of cover it. And then the one Raigeki, just for those board wipes. And then finishing off with the trap, we play 2 Draco Apocalypse, because it's incredibly powerful in the damage step. And then if you combo it off nicely with True King's Return, you pop whatever you want to. You pop, you know, obviously your True Draco or anything like that with your Apocalypse, and then you activate Return and bring it back. And obviously the nice little combo is, if you've done Mariamne's effect and she's engraved, you activate Return, bring her back, activate Apocalypse, pop her, get a search off, next turn bring it back, pop it, and you just keep going round and round and round, and especially by doing it in damage calculation, it can really stall your opponent out and make them lose an attack of one of their big beast monsters. So that's it for the main deck. Now we'll go to the extra deck, and but you can place it free if you want, but obviously because you can't have, you know, without a link monster on board, it's not as consistent to pump out. 2 is more than enough, easily put it up to 3. I will show you when we get to the end of the extra deck what cards I would take out for the new Alistar card. Now obviously you'd probably play that at 2 or 3 if you wished, and go from there. Double Invoked Purgatrio, this is your game winner. It's just incredibly powerful, especially with the amount of people that use Ash in their deck, banishing that from their graveyard. Obviously, though it doesn't deal a huge amount of damage to them by banishing it from their graveyard, you still get to use their material, and you can kind of obviously push forward, and it wins you games. There's no question about that. The one Evoked Elysium. Now, obviously, there are those times where you just want to nuke the board, or you can sit on a 4K Defender, or anything like that. And because we're kind of restricted a little bit more, it does mean that once you've activated your first invocation with your Alistar, you've got like a Mechba or a Purgatrio, or even like your Magnolicia, your Coitus, or your Raging. You can then use those to go into an Invoked Elysium, But normal summon your Alistair, searching out another invocation, doing the same thing, and then Elysium can just nuke the board and allow you to start over again. So it's a nice little Black Rose Dragon kind of thing, and obviously it banishes as well, so it does quite a lot for you. The one Invoked Magnolicia, obviously Max C's you can use on that as well. The one Invoked Coitius, just because we play the Spellboat Boy, put him in defense and then being able to, like a 29 defender and then being attacked for 18, plus obviously you can drop your Alistair and the Invokers on him, put him up to like, you know, maximum 48, which is still incredibly damaging. And then the one Invoked Raijin. For the links, we play the one Decode Talker and the one Proxy Dragon. Obviously, the light attribute for Proxy Dragon help out quite nicely, but it also helps you get the most out of your Alistair the Invoker. Plus, once you get a Decode on board, you can extend your plays that way. But Proxy Dragon would be one of the cards that gets cut for the new Alistair when it comes out, because he's not as important in this build with Proxy Dragon at this moment in time. Double Cyframe Lord Omega. Now, the reason we play double is because we do have the Gamma engine in the extra deck, or into the side deck, sorry. So that covers one of them. Plus, there are the times, because we play Ignis Heat and Majesty Maiden, if we do open up too many hand traps, because we do play, obviously, 3 Ogre, 3 Ashes, you can normal summon one of them and sink into an Omega to rip another one from your opponent's hand. It's not necessary, so it can be another one that comes out for the new Alistair Invoked monster, but for now, double Omega in your opponent is always going to be incredibly powerful. Ancient Fairy Dragon and again Black Rose Dragon, exact same. If you want to get the most out of your Invoker, you can of course normal summon Alistair. Alistair searches you out your spell, and then if you've got or if you've already got Alistair on board, anything like that, kind of combos, you mix these with one of the hand traps. Obviously, Ancient Fairy Dragon could be more helpful for you because obviously it's a light attribute as well, but it can swap over your field spells if you need it to, gain you an extra K, and then you can special summon the Alistair from hand as well. Not that you want to, but it kind of helps, you know what I mean, it can help push your plays. And then Black Rose is just to reset the board. Again, these are all alternate options. You can take these out for whatever you want. You can bump up the Purgatory, you can bump up the Invoked. You can even play the Wind Witch engine in the deck should you wish. And again, that will help extend your plays slightly. But again, because under the new link rules, you couldn't end up board with a Mech Bar or a Raijin with a Crystal Wing. It's kind of all down to you. And then obviously the last one is the Phantom Knights or Breaksword. For the last times that if you do set a hand trap, these are just worst case scenarios. They don't have to be there. So in my personal opinion, these 4 and maybe even 5 can be changed to whatever you really want, and kind of adapt them as you see fit for your deck. Okay, so now onto the side deck, just to kind of show you what was sided, what was played, and kind of what made synergy. Triple Cyframe Gear Gamma. I personally don't like this engine and Cyframe Driver because it is so specific. Yes, it's a very, very nice. If you go first and your opponent goes Ash or Ogre or anything like that, as long as you haven't got a monster on board, I mean, like if you normal summon your Alistair and they Ash you, you're kind of screwed because you can't bring Gamma down because you have to control no monsters. Also, if you open up Driver, it's a little bit of a brick because there's little you can do with it. The only plus side in the Invoked engine is you can use these as light fodder for your Mech Bar, which is a nice little easy get rid of, and kind of go from there. And again, if your opponent like nukes your board or anything like that, and then you have to start again, these can be a saving grace. But to be totally honest, you can take these out for strikes, warnings, entirely up to you. It's very, very helpful if you feel that the level of competition you're playing is going to have the Ash Blossoms, the Ogres, and stuff like that, and really going to go for it. I don't like having it in the main deck. I prefer siding it in because then I know it's not going to be a dead weight in my hand should I need it, and I'm going to put it in with those absolute certainties. Double Cosmic Cyclones, again, these can come out, it's entirely up to you. These are just to deal with Pendulum Magicians and stuff like that. They can be incredibly damaging to them and cause them a few issues. Next up, a Kaiju engine. So we've got the Gardenia, we've got the Dogoran, and we've got the Gamma Seal. Now obviously these two are probably more important because they can help get you into your Purgatrio and your Raijin. Obviously this could help you get into your Coitius as well. But when you're playing stuff like Masterpiece, what I do like to also play is the Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. For the chances are, if I go second, I can activate the Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, nuke my opponent's board, give them Gamma Seal if I wish to, and then give myself a Dogoran or whatever I might need. Then on top of that, I can then move into a Masterpiece, or I can move into a Met Bar, and not worry about being Kaiju'd. If I keep a Kaiju on my board, my opponent can't Kaiju me. It also nukes their board, leaving them materials in graveyard for me to use and abuse going second. So these are mainly choices if you have to go second, you put these in and it kind of gives you another out to your opponent. Triple evenly matched, again, obviously you put these in if you're going second as well. It incredibly resets the board state, and it gives everyone the option of, if you do end up going second, that's what you can kind of do. And then finally, double Drawn and Lot Bird. Now, it's entirely up to you if you want to play these or not, or put them in, or how if you want to main them or side them. It's down to you. There are certain scenarios where Drawn and Lot Bird might be better than Ash Blossom. Now, obviously, if you stop your opponent and they've only got one combo piece in hand, and you Ash Blossom that combo piece, and it's just as effective as Drawn and Lot Bird. But if you Ash Blossom one of their combo pieces, and let's say they've got another Terraforming in hand or anything like that, then their combo isn't really stopped, and they can kind of go a little bit further. So that's when a Drawn and Lot Bird can come in and go, no, stop you out flat. So it's entirely up to you on how you'd want to mix the ratios. You could, if you wanted to, take out one Ghost Ogre, one Ash Blossom, and put in 2 Drawn and Lot Birds, and then you've got 2, 2, and 2, and it gives you the ratios of all of them. And then again, being a wind attribute, it can help get you into Raijin, but it can also be used as fodder for Mariamne, the true Draco Slaying Phoenix. Anyway, that is it for the deck profile. I hope it's given you a couple of ideas of how to play the deck if you are interested in it, and just kind of the ways it can operate and work. I was saying to someone the other day, someone was talking to me that they were looking for an engine, like just an engine to add to their deck, and I said to them, like, the best advice for them is ask yourself, does your deck require a normal summon? If the answer is yes, then go for the Wind Witch engine, because I think the Wind Witch engine is an incredibly powerful engine. If you don't rely on special summoning heavily from your extra deck and stuff like that of wind monsters, and Indestructible Crystal Wing is always powerful. And then if you use normal summon, so like a Wind Witch engine in a Draco deck can kind of work really, really well, because it can kind of push you that way. If you don't need your normal summon and you special summon a lot, like in True Kings, then I would say use Alice the Invoker, because the Invoked engine can be incredibly powerful. Yes, obviously you want like DFD and stuff like that, but being able to abuse Invocation and Alistair if you don't require your normal summon can lead you to incredible powerful boards, which is why this kind of works together. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. If there are any kind of deck process you would like to see, then please let us know in the comments below. We will do our best to put them together for you the way we kind of look at it, and show you what we've got. So, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as always, happy dueling. If you like that video, why not check out our other videos available? We've got more deck profiles, pack openings, and of course duels. And don't forget to click on the most important button of all, that subscribe button, right in the bottom left hand corner.